What was a young Stavvy in 2013 like? Is this a before we're popping off? We're still in the grind.
Definitely not. We are not popped off at all. 2013, yes. In fact, I remember this year. I would be very, very shortly. My college girlfriend would break up with me because I was doing too much comedy and not paying any attention to her. In fact, I watched this game in her living room while she was just like mad at me in her bedroom. So I remember this pretty vividly. I was about to have to move back in with my parents. Shit was not going good for me in 2013. I was about to get a paralegal job by lying about my credentials. Yeah, it was like, but I was actually having a pretty good time. Like the Ravens were on a heater. Flacco mania was sweeping Baltimore.
So this 2012 Patriots team went 12-4. This was the 13th year for Coach Bill Belichick. They had lost the year prior to the New York Giants in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that was a heartbreaker for us.
The field goal to tie the game.
Yeah,
not to win the game, to tie the game.
Evans fucking missed it, motherfucker. That's why. Don't fucking
tie the game.
Don't fucking sweep that under
Sterling
the rug.
Moore
That was
fucking,
in his fucking hands.
Sterling Moore.
He blew it so hard. And
Sterling
he sucked, by the
Moore.
Way. Lee Evans was not good that whole year, and it was just like, wow, is he going to redeem himself? No, he's going to fucking
Sterling Moore.
No, he fucking should have caught that, and we should have tied.
All right, but
that was so annoying. But at least you lost to the Giants, so that's one thing. That does give you the annoying. It's kind of like chess, where it's like, at least we beat you in this one, and then I know losing to fucking Eli twice must fucking kill the whole team, especially Brady. It must
hurts.
fucking
it hurts
hurt, dude. Yeah,
it's gotta.
So
hurt.
it's good. So in the long run, we made a sacrifice. But anyway, this was our revenge on that fucking dog shit game. We should have won 2 different ways.
So we've kind of got. I want to clear it up.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of heard it, but what's your perception of this specific Patriots generation team?
It's tough because Randy Moss was my favorite player before we had the Ravens. Like I would love those Vikings teams, and being a little ass kid, being like, oh, purple to purple, great. You know what I mean? Like I remember. Here's how much I still had a little fondness for Randy in particular is when when we beat who was it? The Raiders? I don't remember who the AFC Championship was. The first championship.
2000. No, that was the Patriots. Or that probably was the Raiders.
Either the Raiders. Anyway, I know we played the Raiders. They were good as fuck. That's who everybody thought was going to win. We might have played them
Raiders,
earlier.
16-3.
Championship. Yep. Yeah. So the other side was the Giants, Vikings, and part of me, being a little kid, was like, I hope the Vikings win. So then both my teams are in this. Like that's how much I loved Randy Moss because you're a little kid. That guy's fucking. It's incredible.
Freak.
And at any time, I have his Raiders Randy Moss jersey actually, and so that was tough because it was the first time I had to root for, and you weren't like at this, it wasn't the Death Star yet. You hadn't won enough Super Bowls, but it was still annoying. It was still like
it was still 3.
We want to beat, we want to beat you guys, and we hadn't won until like. By this point, we had a pretty nice rivalry, like kind of jumped off by that game we didn't talk about your rookie year. That was we always played the.
This was a rivalry. That's what people don't realize.
It really,
because we would play each other because we always won our divisions in the regular season. So all the ones play each other in the regular season, and then we would always play each other in the playoffs. And the Baltimore Ravens were never scared to come to Foxboro. There was teams that used to shit their pants when they had to drive on Highway 1 and get up in there where we used to play the game. Baltimore came in 2009. They didn't give a fuck. They beat our ass right when the jump of that game.
Yep.
They came in.
That first quarter was one of the best moments of my life. Again, and I remember that. This is how bad my life was at the time. I think I have an extra semester. I conned some small business to give me. I interview really well, but I'm bad at every job I ever get. And so
good interview.
I had finished school and I didn't I was on scholarship and I didn't graduate. And I got an internship with some local business consortium that paid for tuition. And I had no money. They were just covering barely anything. So I watched this game. I couldn't afford to go to a bar or do anything. I was a super senior going to a fucking dorm rec room and just eating free Papa John's. And so it was just me alone, just shoveling Papa John's into my mouth. But that first quarter was like, I'm just alone with a bunch of like like other losers who are 18 instead of 20, whatever, who have an excuse to be there. But fucking seeing us steamroll the Patriots in that first in a game we shouldn't have won. You guys were great that year.
We were great, but we got hurt.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Wes got hurt, and that was a big part of our offense.
It still was. Oh yeah, who should have stepped up to fill that void?
I balled out that game.
Well, yeah, that's right.
I'm not gonna lie, but it wasn't enough.
What was the score when you got your first touchdown? 24-0?
It was something like that.
Yeah. Anyway,
it was an ass whooping.
Anyway, the point is, I hated this team. It was not. They weren't quite the like level of. After the Falcons game, it's like, fuck these motherfuckers, man. They get this too. They get a sick comeback. That was when it was like, I'll never want anything good to happen to the Patriots for 20 years. But back then it was just, they're good as shit. No, everyone seems to be, I always felt we were as good in that same, like when your team is never scared to go into anywhere and they play tough defense and they can play with anyone, it gives you that confidence as a fan to be like, yeah, fuck it, dude. Any game we can win. And I always felt like, we were at the level of the best teams in the NFL. Those Ravens teams. And I think getting one Super Bowl kind of validates that. It's like, it's just hard as shit to win Super Bowls. So the fact that we even scraped one out of there in the midst of like your run and all these other great teams, Peyton and those Broncos teams, like all that shit happened kind of the top teams in the league were good as fuck. And I always felt like with sometimes you could argue inferior talent across the roster, we're just like, that's what I love about the Ravens, man. We just put together a fucking insane team. And yeah, there's stars at the top, but we make just whoever comes into our system become really good, usually defensive players, but it's even started being, I think our offense obviously has gotten a lot better in recent years. But so, yeah, that's what I remember. It was just like, fuck these guys. They think they're better than us. We're just as good. That was always the vibe.
What are your thoughts on the Boston fans as a whole?
I mean, one of the most coddled generations of fans of all time. Lucky as shit. They think they're... Like, that's the thing. They need to feel pain. This fucking sucks. The Celtics can't keep winning. You can't get a good fucking quarterback again. It sucks. You deserve 40 years of 0.
You said 20
16.
though.
That's what. Okay,
you said 20 years.
At 20, I would start being like, "This is a little much." I hope these guys win.
So how many years are we into that sentence then? We're like, got to be 6, 5,
six.
Since all right. So
Celtics won a championship.
Celtics reset the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. So then it resets.
It resets.
But, all right,
to 20 again.
So are the Patriots your most hated team?
Steelers.
You hate the Steelers?
Yeah, I stay the Steelers more probably, just from that. Again, just the classic local division rival. The Steelers shit, and then but
Cincinnati.
Not really. I mean, I know Burrow.
Recently,
Burrow deserves that level of ire, but they're such a fucking clown show. They don't know how to run an organization at all. That they're wasting his fucking prime. So
they just signed Higgins.
Shout out to dickhead owners. Yeah, finally. How long did that take them?
I know, but they signed Jamar Chase and Higgins.
Yeah, but they always wait too long, and they're probably too fucking stupid. I don't understand the cap, but it doesn't seem like they do, and they own a fucking team. And so it doesn't seem like you should sign your best players at the fucking end. You'll end up like the fucking Cowboys. You know what I mean? So I don't think they know what the fuck they're doing, and that makes me feel good.
When did you feel it was over? Like you guys had it in the bag, and you were starting to think about SF?
That's a great point. I mean, it was the kind of thing where that is the flip side of the you're never scared when your defense gets the ball. The flip side is you still unfortunately give the other team too many shots. Yeah. Like when and Flacco had a good game this game, but still it wasn't high scoring. It wasn't like, I guess you're just always a little, the flip side of like being comfortable when you're losing is not being super comfortable when you're winning either. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's Tom Brady, whatever, but they really couldn't get anything going. Probably, I would, probably after when you get a couple stops and it feels like you have them.
I think it was that Ridley for me.
Yeah.
When Ridley got knocked out.
Yeah, well, the Ridley, yeah.
Because he got knocked out, he fumbled. It wasn't, that's when the game was over. That's when the momentum shifted, and that's when the Baltimore team believed they could win.
For sure.
That was when they're like, all right, we got these motherfuckers on the rope.
Still after that, Brady threw 2 picks after that.
No,
right?
he threw one.
One?
I think he threw the tip one after that.
Okay, yeah.
And that was kind of the button.
It was after. He
After.
threw 2 picks back to back after the Ridley.
Yeah.
So see, that's the thing is even after that, and I know you mean momentum, but even after that, it's like you got 2 other cracks at it
You're
right
still
away.
scared.
Like if those are 2 touchdowns, you're up a point. You know what I mean? Like that, which is crazy. So probably the tip pick is the one where it's like, oh fuck, this is awesome. Yeah, they're fucked.
And then you guys win it. And how was the celebration?
Celebration was fucking awesome. I mean, it was a lot of like disbelief. It was, I got in my personal celebrations, I get into a fight with my girlfriend again, and I go do an open mic. So it wasn't really like the greatest night of my life, but I got pretty fucked up when we won the Super Bowl. So that was pretty fun.
So final score 28-13. Ravens, of course, would go on to win the Harbaugh Bowl, also known as the Blackout Bowl, 34-31, bringing Baltimore their first Super Bowl since 2000. Ray Lewis would ride off into the sunset as a champ after 17 seasons. Also, you mentioned earlier, just to put it out there, Ray Lewis tore his pec in earlier in this season and came back and played.
Yep.
And then the Patriots eventually would go on to win a Super Bowl, ending their 10-year drought of Super Bowls.
Jeez.
Yep. Well, we had a nice one. That was a great. That year was great. We get the Super Bowl. Our season ends in disgrace, and then that was great, man. I loved that Super Bowl, and it was nice. I mean, you get to the point where you're like, obviously, I'd like to win. I'd like the Ravens to win one more. Like, I'm not a greedy Boston pig that needs more championships in his trough every year or he'll start fucking crying. Give me one spaced out every 15 years. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean?
Honest guy.
So I'd like one more before I die. Is that so much to ask for? I'd like Lamar to get one more and I'm good. If I have kids, that's up to them. I don't give a fuck. They can fend for themselves if Baltimore is good when they're alive or not. But I personally need one more.